Hey everybody, how is it going? I'm on a bit of an easy week this week, and I'm doing one of my only 4 sessions. It's like a maintenance session, FTP maintenance. So 3 10-minute intervals, 370 watts, just below threshold. Some little surges in there as well, to make sure I don't get too comfortable plodding along at one pace. Keep all the energy systems going, that sort of thing. Just climbing up at Stroud right now. Interval's about to start. I learned the other day there's some traffic lights on this road. Get through those traffic lights. I'll tell you why I've taken an extra couple of days off. Oh look, if I really start pushing now, I'll actually make it whilst they're green. Next week I'm going to start training a bit harder again, so it's good to freshen up just before that happens. Keep an eye on that clock behind the camera. So I mounted it in a weird position. Yeah, I was meant to go out yesterday for this ride, and I just wasn't up to it. Mentally, physically. It was raining, lots of other stuff to do, because riding a bike isn't the only thing I do in the day. And the day ticked by, I hadn't been out on my bike, and I just started to panic a bit. And I just realised, you know what, years ago, you would have gone out, felt miserable, and you would have done it. That doesn't mean it's any better for you. So I called it off, took the day off, and I've done it today instead. In the past, that would have caused me great distress. Actually, as you get older, you realise the athlete knows best. You know, your mind and your body, they need to work in harmony. And if you're not 100% up to something, it's not a lot of point of flogging yourself to do it. It's going to have a knock-on effect later on. I think that's something I definitely wish I knew when I was younger. It's very rare that I struggle to motivate myself. But going out when you really don't want to do it is counterproductive. You've got to go out, feel motivated, put all your energy into it. You're always going to get more out of yourself for doing that way. Right, it's 2 minutes in, 8 more minutes to go. Another little surge. Mix them up, seated, standing, seated, standing. So I've had 3 days off. My legs are struggling to wake up. But you're not always going to feel good when you're training, are you? Sometimes you just have to grovel through. I used to work on a 5 out of 7 principle. So 5 days of the week just feel awful. And then you have those 2 good days, if you're lucky. And if you're really lucky, one of them will be race day as well. After a few easy days, I always find it harder to breathe. It's almost like my lungs aren't quite as elastic as they were before. They're a bit more reluctant to stretch. And talking is a bad idea. We're nearly halfway there. Definitely regretting the amount of cookies I ate last night. But I think it is really important when you have downtime to not worry about the consequences. Deal with the consequences afterwards. But when you're having downtime, that's when you should be shutting off. It's what's recharging your batteries mentally and physically. And if you don't do it, there are only a few people, you know, like genuine world-class athletes. They don't do it all year round either. You're just being unnecessarily hard on yourself. I think as a young athlete, you see what everyone wants you to see from the outside. Remember when Chris Froome put up a picture of eggs and avocado, and everyone just assumes that's what he always eats, nothing else. The guy definitely doesn't live off eggs and avocado. It's a snapshot. Literally, that's gone in 5 minutes. That's 5 minutes of his year. It's not realistic. Don't believe everything you see on social media. It's just not really that representative of real life. And all you're going to do is beat yourself up for no reason. Like, you should enjoy what you're doing. So my theory of 5 in 7, 5 days bad, 2 days good, as in feeling on the bike, I still believe in that to an extent, but every bike ride should always have something that you've enjoyed. So whether it's a descent or a fast section of road with a tailwind, or you just joined up 2 corners really nicely, or you did a sprint and it just felt perfect because you were well connected to the bike and everything flowed. Things like that are what you hold on to on those bad days. So every day you want to look for a positive when you're training, because otherwise you are on a hiding to nowhere. That's definitely something I wish I knew when I was younger, is that it's perfectly fine to feel bad. You don't have to feel good all the time. And the only time it counts when you need to feel good is on a race day. You can feel amazing when training, but none of it means anything. I set power PBs this year, but if I don't go back to racing and win races, it's irrelevant, it means nothing. So they're good little stepping stones, but at the end of the day, it's results when racing that actually matter. And it's important to remember that. I spend a lot of time thinking when I ride my bike, thinking about my past career, thinking about all the things that I might have done differently. But actually, all it comes down to is, what would I say to my younger self, and what would I do differently if I had my time again? And that's, I suppose, part of what this second attempt at a career is. It's not quite having my time again. I mean, it's going to be very different for me to before, but it is also trying to see if I can put the things I've learned into practice. You know, in that 2 years, you get a lot of distance between any emotional connection with your career and the actual day-to-day happenings of training and eating and everything that goes alongside being a pro rider. And I felt that separation just kind of really helped me understand that I could definitely get more out of myself if I approach things differently at different times. And yeah, you can never know the things you know now and apply that to a 12-year-old me or a 16-year-old myself. But let's start with the basics. Eat. There is so much talk in the media about athletes losing weight, starving themselves, how little they eat on their bikes. It's just counterproductive to most athletes. Before you can worry about losing weight and being skinny, you've got to be powerful, because at the end of the day, you have to power the bike forward. You know, even the roads that I'm on here today, the effort doesn't come for free. You have to power your way over every little gradient, across the rough surfaces. And if you don't have any energy in your body, you can't expect your muscles to get stronger. You need to feel them. It'd be like trying to drive your car fast without petrol in it. You're not going to get far before it's all gone and you're all burnt out. Okay, there are distinct differences between a combustion engine and a human being, but all of these young riders that are worried about getting down to race weight, why not just try and get stronger? Fuel your efforts, take on more intervals. And the second thing is, when you're doing these intervals, I used to get so stressed and so worried about them that I'd almost taught myself out of getting as hard as I could. Whereas when I started training now, so in December last year, it didn't matter if I blew up. You know, I had a steady job at the time, I could just go to work. It really didn't matter. And even now today, okay, so the interval doesn't work out, but you've ticked the box, you've tried it, you've done it, you've maybe not quite got the numbers you wanted to, but if you didn't even put yourself in a position to try, you'd have gotten absolutely nothing out of it. So saying that I quickly taught myself years ago was, something's better than nothing, and that definitely applies to today. It actually works really well in Dutch. Eat is beter than niets, just because it rhymes nicely. Something's better than nothing. I suppose it also rhymes, but it's a bit repetitive. So yeah, not getting too het up on your intervals. So what if the 5th out of the 6th doesn't go well? Do the 6th, might go worse, might go better. And this is where it gets confusing, because actually listening to your body is also really important. Like I was saying before, didn't want to ride yesterday, so I didn't. In the past, I would have been stressed about that as well. Your training shouldn't cause you stress. You should take pride in it and you should worry about it. You shouldn't be stressed about it. And equally, racing shouldn't be stressful. You should enjoy it. You should do it for the fun, for the pleasure. Because when it's taken away from you, that's when things get stressful. It's such a release having that competitive outlet, that any energy, anything that you're processing mentally, obviously that's going to be different for everyone as well, but racing should be fun. You should enjoy the close contact. And I think I got caught up in the stresses of racing, you know, the financial side of, it's my income, I need to get these results. But actually, if you stress too much, you're not going to get any results, and that's even worse. So focus on the fun. Enjoy what you're doing. That's so important for a young rider. If you're a junior rider and you find yourself stressing about it, just step back a little bit, reconnect with what it is you enjoy. So I really enjoy mountain biking. That's something which I always do when I'm feeling a little bit down. I'll go and ride my favourite but then also doing something outside of cycling. Now, I never really agreed with this when I was younger, but it became mountain biking for me. Whilst it's not cycling, I don't associate it with the stresses of racing, and it's just pure enjoyment. But having either a hobby, so cars, football, going to the pub, that sort of thing, when you're older, when you're 18 and over, 21 in the USA, they're so important to the longevity of, a happy, healthy athlete's career. Just focusing on cycling, it all gets quite claustrophobic quite quickly, and especially if you move away and you've moved somewhere just for racing and training, your world can become quite small. So having those hobbies outside of the sport is really, really important, because it just helps you step back from it, because it is going to get stressful at times. It's not all fun and games. You'll have accidents, you'll have losses, there'll just be bad days on the bike, and it's really important to have something else to focus on. Maybe like gardening, growing your own vegetables, cooking's a good one, so you can learn to cook properly and fuel your efforts as well. It just ties us nicely around in a circle there, doesn't it? So staying in touch with your mind, your body and your soul, and trying to get them all to work in unison is what is so important. No one is going to have an amazing career because they had one good month of training in the winter, or even because they had one good winter's training. It's year after year, consistent hard work. But that doesn't mean there's not margin for error. We all get stuff wrong all the time. The people that do everything right all the time are few and far between. So instead, just focus on getting most of the things right most of the time. That's sustainable. It means you're not going to be punishing yourself if you do make mistakes, but it also just means you're never that far off doing everything right all the time. So just consistently chipping away, doing the work that you need to do, and just focusing on the areas you need to focus on. That's what's going to make you a better bike rider. Being technically good on the bike is also so important, because you'll save so much more energy, but also you'll enjoy it a lot more if you're always comfortable on your bike in any scenario. This is like my favourite thing to talk about, so forgive me for a second whilst I indulge myself. If you feel comfortable on your bike, it's just that much more fun. You can go down to the descent with food in your mouth, with one hand on the bars, in a big bunch, and never feel out of control. You see so many riders wasting so much energy, either mental energy or nervous energy, and that's just because they're not comfortable on their bike. Being confident in your surroundings, knowing that you can deal with any scenario that comes your way, makes you a good bike rider, and the power will come. That just comes with consistent training and not trying to lose weight all the time. Sure, we all want to get down to a race weight, but when you see these skinny athletes, a lot of it is just the byproduct of the workload they're under. It's not necessarily because they're trying to lose weight, and a lot of them are older as well. If you notice young riders, it's rare they look lean and defined. Take some of the world's best riders, Van der Poel, Mathieu Van der Poel for example, didn't look defined and muscular until recently. When he was younger, he looked skinny, but he didn't look lean and defined like he does now, and that just comes with age. And obviously he's getting stronger all the time, but that's the same for every athlete. We're all developing at different rates. Your trajectory is not going to be the same as someone else's, so don't spend too much time looking outwards. Spend more time focusing on you, where you've come from, and how you've made that progress over whatever time frame you're looking at. That's all that really matters. None of us are the same, and we cannot compare ourselves to each other. We're all going to have different careers, and that's quite an important thing to remember. So there you go, a few nuggets of wisdom from myself. You may not find they're applicable to you, and that's perfectly fine, but if you do know someone that might benefit from listening to it, it'd be really cool if you'd share the video with them. I've learned a lot in 24 years riding a bike, but I reckon I learned more in the 2 years that I stopped racing. And it's quite nice to now not just put it into practice for myself, but bit by bit drip feed it to you, and hope that it also helps you progress and enjoy riding your bike more as well. It's been amazing to have so many of you subscribe and give a thumbs up and leave a comment on these videos. So please do keep doing that. It's a massive motivator. I've never said it before, but it really does make a difference. It means I feel that I'm doing it for a reason, and that someone out there in some way is benefiting from watching these videos. Enjoy the ride, and I will see you again soon.